Hi, welcome to our Algebra 1B videos. On this topic, we're going to talk about geometry and specifically the area and perimeter of a triangle and a rectangle in the coordinate plane. So these problems are a little bit tougher, specifically the first one. So I'm going to start with the easier one down on the bottom. Now our last problem on the homework today, the review for our 1314 quiz, we're finding the area and the perimeter of this rectangle. Now, in a rectangle, we know the opposite sides are equal, so we can use that later. But I need to find those slanted distances. I need to figure out what's the distance between A and B, what's the distance between A and C. And now we could do, if you really wanted to do your Pythagorean theorem, you could figure out how far to the right and how far down do you have to go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 to go from A to C. So you could do that. Or you can use the coordinates. I'm going to show the coordinates and how to use the distance formula to find AB and AC. So let's do AB. AB, the distance formula would say that I have, let me do this in a smaller font, x2 minus x1, and it doesn't really matter which one you do first. I'm going to do -1 minus -3 squared. Now, because I started with -1 on the left, I'm going to have to start with 2 for my y, minus 0 squared. So this is AB. And of course, I can simplify this to get the square root of 2 squared plus 2 squared, which is the same thing as saying the square root of 4 plus 4. So the square root of 4 plus 4 is the square root of 8, which, if I type that into a calculator, should be, let's see, 2.82 or 2.8. So AB's distance is 2.8. Let me make that larger. So that is 2.8. And I know that because this is a rectangle, the opposite side must also be 2.8, and then I can find the length of AC in the same way. So my distance formula for AC, x2 minus x1, 3 minus -1 squared, y2 minus y1, -2 minus 2 squared. Which is the same as 4 squared plus, now -2 minus 2 more is a -4 squared. But remember, when we type this into a calculator, if you forget your parentheses and it gives you a negative number, I cannot have a negative distance. So this is going to be the square root of 16 plus 16, or the square root of 32, which would be 5.7, or 5.65. So let's say I called this side length 5.7 and this side length 5.7. Then I need to find my perimeter and my area. My perimeter would be the distance around, so it would be 2.8 plus 2.8 plus 5.7 plus 5.7. So this would get me 17 units for my perimeter, the distance around the shape. The area, I gave you the formula there, is base times height, so 2.8 times 5.7 . 15.96 square units. Okay, now let's go over to the triangle. I've got my triangle drawn here, and it's a little bit strange looking. So first thing I need to do is check my formula. I need 1/2 base times height. Okay, so 1/2 base times height. Well, where's the base? The base is down here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now this is the part that's a little bit tricky. I need to figure out what the height is from the top point, the highest point, down to the bottom point. So the height here would be this distance outside the triangle, the number of spaces from the highest point to the lowest point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces straight down would be my height. So my area formula for the triangle, 1/2 base times height, well, my base is 8 and my height is 6. So this would be 24 square units. Now on your quiz, what you're going to see is you will see a triangle that looks something like this, where you have a base and a height. But on the homework, this one's a little bit tougher. It's not nice and obvious where the base and height are. So here I've got to find my height is 6, my base is 8. And for the perimeter, I need to know the distance around this shape. So I already have one side is 8. I'm going to have to find the other two sides. So this is C, this is A, this is B. So I need to find AC and BC. So AC would be 5 minus -4 squared, 8 minus 2 squared, or 9 squared plus 6 squared, which is the same as 81 plus 36, or the square root of 117, which is 10.8. So this is 10.8. And then if I find BC, I'll have the third side and I can find my perimeter, or the distance around the shape. So BC is 5 minus 4 squared plus 8 minus 2 squared, which is the same as 1 squared plus 6 squared, or the square root of 37. Now the square root of 37 is going to be 6.1, or 6.08. And if you add those up, (6.1) plus 10.8 plus 8 should get you 24.9 units around the whole perimeter. So let me know what questions you have, and